Have you ever used a product, maybe an app or even a service that just, well, it works, it does its job, you get what you need, but you don't really feel much about it? It's capable, sure, maybe even efficient, but it just doesn't stick with you. Now, think about the ones you genuinely love, the ones you actually tell your friends about, the ones that just make your day a little bit easier, maybe a little brighter. There's a huge difference there, isn't there? It's more than just the function, it's about a connection. Today, we're doing a deep dive into an idea that really tries to bridge that gap, the minimum lovable product, or MLP. We've got some really interesting sources that unpack what it is, why it's so critical these days, and maybe most importantly, how you can actually apply its principles, in your own work. Our mission here is to help you understand how to move beyond just making something work to creating something people really cherish right from the very beginning. So get ready. We're going to explore how a bit of deliberate delight can make all the difference. We'll unpack this MLP concept and show you what it means to build things people don't just use, but really, truly adore. Okay, let's kick things off with the fundamentals. A lot of us know about the MVP, right? The minimum viable product. It's kind of the standard for launching fast, getting feedback, testing the waters. But what's this lovable part all about? What really defines an MLP?
Yeah, what's fascinating here is the nuance, the shift in thinking. An MLP, it's basically the smallest version of your product that does two things. First, it absolutely has to reliably solve a real problem. That's table stakes. But second, and this is key, it's also designed intentionally to make users actually enjoy using it. We're talking about creating an emotional connection sort of baked in from the start. The core distinction, if you boil it down, is pretty simple. An MVP asks, does it work? An MLP aims for the user thinking, wow, I love this. It's a higher bar, emotionally speaking. It's still minimum scope, like an MVP, which is really about testing functionality, proving there's demand. But unlike an MVP, which can sometimes feel a bit, rug or bare bones, an MLP has enough polish to be memorable, to feel delightful. The full market-ready product with all the features and scale, that comes way later. The MLP is that initial hook, proving it works and making people care.
Right. So if an MVP gets the job done, it validates the core idea. Why the extra effort? Why push for lovable right at the start? Isn't speed the main thing early on?
That's a really good question, and it's a common one. The idea isn't necessarily about slowing down. It's about making that first contact count. An MVP might tell you if people have the problem, but an MLP helps figure out if they'll stick with your solution. Think about it. If your quick MVP is clunky or just forgettable, people might leave before you even get good feedback. They churn. The minimum in MLP still means being lean, focusing, but you're choosing quality of experience for a narrow scope. You do one or two things exceptionally well with that polish rather than 5 things just okay. And connecting this to the bigger picture, it's about impact. An MVP can, frankly, be forgettable, but an MLP, by creating that emotional connection, has these ripple effects. First impressions, well, they're everything, right? A lovable product shapes that initial decision. Stay or go. Then there's retention. Products that spark a bit of delight, they just have stronger retention. People come back because they enjoy it, not just because they have to. And word of mouth, this is huge. A lovable product naturally gets people talking. They become your advocates. Plus, differentiation. Even if you have fewer features than a competitor, that thoughtful design, that delightful touch, it can really make you stand out.
That really resonates. It's not just the feature list, it's the feeling. It reminds me of maybe buying a tool. One does the job, it's fine. Another one just feels right in your hand. It's satisfying to use. You actually look forward to using it, even for a mundane task. That's the kind of difference we're talking about, isn't it?
Exactly. It becomes part of your routine in a positive way.
Okay, so the why is compelling. Building that affection early on makes a lot of sense. But let's get practical. How do you do it? How do you actually build something that solves the problem and sparks that joy? What are the steps, the guiding principles?
Right, let's break it down. Our sources point to about 5 core principles for building an MLP. First, solid core functionality, non-negotiable. It must reliably solve the main problem. Delight is built on top of competence, not instead of it.
Okay, makes sense. Function first.
Second, emotional hooks. This is the personality. It comes through in the copy, the design, maybe little interactive touches, those small things that make you smile.
Those delightful surprises.
Precisely. Third, focus. And this is tough. You have to strictly limit the scope to the main use case. Do that one thing exceptionally well. Resist adding more features.
Avoid the feature creep. Got it.
Fourth, balance speed and polish. You still want to ship relatively quickly, get it out there. But, and this is critical, avoid that rough draft feeling. Quality over quantity features at this stage. And fifth, user-centric iteration. You need feedback, obviously, but not just on does it work. Ask how it makes users feel. That emotional feedback is gold dust for an MLP.
Feel. Okay, that's a key difference in the feedback loop.
Absolutely. And to put these principles into action, there are roughly 5 steps our sources outline. Step 1, identify the core problem. Really deep user research here. Interviews, analysis, understanding the real pain points. Step 2, define the emotional goal. Ask, what should users feel after using this? Relief, excitement, confidence, calm. Nailing that feeling guides your design.
Interesting. So targeting an emotion.
Yes. Step 3, prioritize features. Keep only the absolute must-haves for the core function. Then strategically add just 1 or 2 of those delightful touches, those emotional hooks. Just 1 or 2. Step 4, design for delight. This is where you think about smooth onboarding, clean visuals, maybe playful microcopy, the little bits of text, and maybe small, thoughtful animations. The details.
A polish.
Exactly, the polish. And step 5, build, test, and refine. Release the MLP to a small group, learn fast from their feedback, functional and emotional, and just iterate, iterate, iterate.
That's a really clear blueprint. It sounds like it needs discipline, though. That focus part seems hard. Can you give us some real-world examples? Companies that maybe started with something like this, something truly lovable.
Oh, definitely. You've probably used some without thinking about their origins this way. Take Slack. It started as a fairly simple messaging tool, right? But its fun notifications, the clean interface, that friendly tone, it immediately felt different, more enjoyable than the clunky old corporate tools.
Yeah, I remember that. It felt lighter, almost playful compared to email or other platforms back then. The little sounds, the emojis used well. It just changed the vibe of team communication.
Exactly. It nailed the function but added personality.
Yeah.
Then there's Notion. Early on, it was this minimalist, almost elegant tool for notes and organizing. It just felt satisfying to use, very intuitive. People loved the aesthetic, the flexibility. It built this really loyal following quickly because organizing suddenly felt less like a chore.
Making organization feel good. That's powerful.
And another great one is Canva. It gave people this super easy drag and drop design tool. Suddenly, anyone could make decent looking graphics without needing complex software or design skills. Took something intimidating and made it feel delightful. Empowering even.
Right. Canva democratized design in a way, but it also made the process enjoyable. What really stands out to me in those examples is how they nailed the core problem first, then layered on that pleasant experience. They weren't just functional, they felt genuinely satisfying.
That's the key takeaway. They understood the user's pain, solved it reliably, and then smoothed out the rough edges, adding those small moments of joy or ease. It wasn't usually one massive delight feature.
So it's often the subtle things.
Often, yes. It's the quality of the interaction, removing friction, maybe a clever bit of copy, a smooth animation. It's the sum of those small, thoughtful parts on top of a solid core.
It sounds like a great strategy, but like anything, I imagine it's easy to get wrong. What are some common traps people fall into when trying to build an MLP?
That's a really important point. It's easy to misunderstand delight or misapply the minimum part. Our sources highlight a few common mistakes. One big one is overloading with too many features. Just kills the minimum aspect. Feature creep sneaks back in.
Right, losing focus.
Exactly. Another is releasing something that feels unfinished or buggy. If it's unreliable, no amount of charm will make it lovable. It undermines the whole idea of polish.
That erodes trust immediately.
Totally. Then there's weak onboarding. If users are confused right at the start, forget love. They'll just be frustrated. And this one's crucial. Adding only cute features without nailing the core problem. Charm without substance. It might seem nice initially, but if the product doesn't actually work well, the cuteness wears thin fast. Solve the problem first.
Substance first, then style.
Precisely. And finally, ignoring how the product makes users feel. Just looking at clicks or task completion rates. If you don't ask about or measure the feeling, you're missing the entire point of Lovable.
So it's a real balancing act. Simplicity, function, and that touch of, well, magic. Needs discipline. Okay, let's say you've navigated those pitfalls. You've built something. How do you actually measure if it is lovable? That seems so subjective.
It does seem subjective, but you can definitely measure it, or at least track strong indicators. It goes beyond just usage stats. Our sources suggest looking at a few key things. Net Promoter Score, NPS, is a big one. How likely are you to recommend this? High scores there. That's a strong sign of affection, of advocacy.
People recommending it freely.
Then retention. Are people coming back after that first try? Are they sticking around? High retention suggests they're getting ongoing value and enjoying the experience enough to return. You also need qualitative sentiment. What words are users actually using in feedback and reviews on social media? Are they saying it's enjoyable, delightful, easy, satisfying? Listen to those
The
adjectives.
actual language they use.
Exactly. And finally, feature adoption, specifically for those delightful touches you added. Are people using that clever shortcut? Are they engaging with that fun animation? It helps validate your choices.
So it's a mix, quantitative data like NPS and retention, but combined with really listening to the qualitative stuff, the feelings.
Precisely. You need both to get the full picture.
Okay, so you've launched your MLP. It's resonating. People seem to genuinely love it. What's next? You can't stay minimum forever, right? How do you grow from there?
Right, the MLP isn't the end goal. It's the launch pad. A really strong one, hopefully. Once you have that foundation, that core group of users who love what you've built, you can strategically expand. Now you can start to add new features, maybe address secondary use cases, but you do it knowing the core is solid and loved.
Building on strength.
Exactly. You could also build out your marketing. You already have proof of that emotional connection, so your marketing can leverage that authenticity. It's much more powerful. And naturally, as you grow, you'll need to improve scalability, speed, performance. Optimize the tech side to handle more users without losing that smooth, delightful feel.
Maintaining the quality at scale.
Crucial. And finally, this is often when you can more confidently explore monetization. You've proven the value, people love it, so asking them to pay feels much more reasonable and likely to succeed. The key thing is, all this growth comes from a place of user love, which makes everything else, development, marketing, monetization, just much more effective.
That makes a lot of sense. Building on love, not just utility. Well, this has been an absolutely fascinating deep dive into the minimum lovable product. We've really seen how, an MVP might show your product works, but an MLP aims to show that it matters to people. It's about creating that essential emotional connection, which, as you said, drives retention, word of mouth, real advocacy. So if you're out there building something, creating, maybe even just shaping a product or service, it seems worth asking that question. What would make this truly lovable? How can you inject that spark, that bit of delight that goes beyond just getting the job done?
And maybe a final thought to leave you with. Consider how these principles, solid function plus deliberate delight, could apply more broadly. It's not just for apps or software, is it? Think about any experience you design, maybe a service you offer, even how you present an idea. How can you take just one aspect of whatever you're creating next and focus on making it not just work, but actually matter and feel good to the person experiencing it? That shift could make all the difference. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and share it, with others who might benefit too. To learn more about product management and digital marketing, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update.